God says, "Stop and listen carefully, because this message did not find you by accident. Heaven does not interrupt a chosen life without purpose. And if these words are in front of you now, it is because something hidden is about to be uncovered. This is not just emotion. This is not fantasy. This is not a coincidence. This is a revelation. Congratulations. God says you are about to find out who is in love with you, and the truth has been moving toward you far longer than you realize. Do not leave this message now. Open it fully. Receive it immediately. Because what is being revealed is not small, and it is not casual. It touches your heart, your healing, and the next chapter of your destiny. You have been wondering why love felt delayed, why certain connections collapsed, why your spirit kept sensing that someone, somewhere, was tied to your future, even while your eyes saw nothing. But the Lord says, your waiting was never wasted. You were not being denied. You were being preserved. You were being separated from what could not carry your calling. Chosen one, you are not ordinary, and what heaven is preparing for you is not ordinary either. There is someone whose heart has already been stirred by your presence, someone who thinks of you more than you know, someone who has felt your weight in their spirit, even if they have not yet found the courage to speak. God says even the first sign, even the beginning of their name, is not being shown to entertain you, but to awaken your discernment. Pay attention. This is the season where hidden things begin to speak. This is the season where what was silent begins to move. This is the season where what was held back begins to come forward. Hear this clearly. You are worthy of a love that honors your depth, your scars, your faith, and the oil of God on your life. You were never too much. You were never too deep. The wrong people were simply never assigned to hold what God placed inside you. So tell me in the comments, can you already feel that something is shifting in your spirit? If you receive this word, comment 777 below, and do not forget to like, subscribe, and share, because this message is only beginning, and what God is about to reveal next goes even deeper. You are never walking through ordinary delays, and that is why ordinary explanations never satisfied your spirit. Other people called it bad timing. Some called it heartbreak. Others called it overthinking. But God says the truth was deeper than that. What you have lived through was not random confusion. It was a separation. It was protection. It was preparation. Some relationships could have touched your emotions but damaged your assignment. Some connections looked beautiful on the outside but would have drained the oil, peace, and spiritual clarity God placed over your life. That is why certain doors closed even when you begged for them to stay open. That is why some people walked away when you were ready to stay. Heaven was not punishing you. Heaven was preserving something in you that could not be entrusted to careless hands. You have felt set apart for a long time, and sometimes that calling felt more like loneliness than purpose. Sometimes it felt like being misunderstood, like carrying a heart too deep for shallow places, like seeing meaning where others only saw moments. Yet the Lord says what made you feel different is the very reason your future cannot be handled like everyone else's. Your life carries weight. Your spirit carries memory. Your love carries a covenant. That is why what is coming toward you now is not just affection, not just attention, not just temporary passion. It is something God has filtered through wisdom, timing, and mercy. C.S. Lewis once wrote in The Problem of Pain that God whispers in our pleasures, but shouts in our pain. And for you, those painful seasons were not empty noise. They were the places where heaven was teaching you discernment, stripping illusions away, and showing you that not every desire is safe simply because it feels strong. God had to teach you the difference between being wanted and being truly valued, between being pursued and being protected, between chemistry and calling. So when the right love appears, it will not arrive as confusion dressed up as excitement. It will carry peace. It will carry recognition. It will carry the unmistakable sense that God did not forget you during the waiting, but was writing a deeper story beneath the silence. And that is why this message is for you now, because the one who is beginning to love you is not entering your life to distract your purpose, but because heaven has decided the season of mere surviving is ending, and the season of divine confirmation is beginning. Someone is carrying your name in silence, and this is far more serious than you think, because what is happening is not a passing attraction, not a brief emotional spark, not one more restless feeling that fades when the night is over. God says this person has been deeply, quietly, and powerfully affected by you, and the weight of it has not left them. They have tried to ignore it. They have tried to reason with it. They have tried to bury it under routine, distance, caution, and fear. But what heaven has allowed to awaken in their heart keeps rising again. It returns in quiet moments. It returns in the middle of the night. It returns when your name is mentioned, when your image crosses their mind, when something in their spirit reminds them that you are not ordinary and never were. This is why the matter has become so heavy. They are not merely curious about you. They are being confronted by the reality of what you mean to them, and that reality is unsettling everything they thought they could control. The Lord says they have felt emotion before, but not like this. What they feel now reaches deeper. It touches the hidden places. It shakes old defenses. It exposes wounds they thought were sealed. It awakens hope they were afraid to carry. And that is why this has become a spiritual struggle as much as an emotional one, because when a heart begins to recognize something sacred, fear often rises before faith does. They sense that you are tied to something larger than romance. They sense that coming close to you would require honesty, maturity, courage, and the surrender of every shallow mask. That is why they hesitate. Not because the feeling is weak, but because it is strong. Not because it is false, but because it is real enough to change them. God says they have spoken about you in the secret places of the soul, in sighs too deep for words, in prayers they barely knew how to form. And while you may have wondered whether anyone truly sees you, heaven wants you to know that you are already being carried in someone's heart with a seriousness that neither of you can keep delaying forever. So let me ask you something. Have you felt in your spirit that someone is battling their fear because of what they feel for you? Have you sensed that this connection is deeper, heavier, and more destined than ordinary attraction? If this speaks to you, comment, "I receive this," and tell me, do you believe God can reveal love before it fully arrives? They have not stepped forward yet, and that delay has not been harmless. It has been costly. It has created nights of overthinking, moments of spiritual exhaustion, and a pressure inside both hearts that cannot keep building forever without demanding a decision. God says this is where many people misunderstand the silence. They assume silence means absence. They assume hesitation means indifference. They assume delay means the feeling was never real. But heaven says no. The silence has been heavy because the feeling is heavy. The hesitation has been painful because the connection is painful to resist. This person has not remained hidden because they do not care. They have remained hidden because they understand, even if only in fragments, that coming toward you means stepping into something that could alter the course of their life. They know, at some level, that you are not a casual encounter. You are not a distraction. You are not a temporary comfort for a lonely season. You carry consequences. You carry depth. You carry a kind of spiritual gravity that forces truth to the surface. And not everyone feels ready for that kind of truth. That is why they have been struggling. They are fighting memories, wounds, insecurities, and old patterns that whisper to them to stay guarded, stay distant, stay safe. They may have loved wrongly before. They may have trusted too soon before. They may have opened their heart in the past, only to watch it break in their own hands. And now, standing at the edge of something real, they feel both longing and terror. They want to move, but fear tells them to freeze. They want to speak, but fear tells them to remain silent until the moment passes. Yet the Lord says the moment is not passing, it is intensifying. What God has allowed to grow in secret cannot remain buried forever. Delay is not denial, but delay can become disobedience when fear is allowed to rule too long. C.S. Lewis, in Mere Christianity, wrote with piercing clarity that love is not merely a feeling that happens to us, but something that grows into a deeper, steadier reality